On Wednesday evening, the champagne bubbles tickle my nose as I stand frozen in my sister's living room. Jessica's words echo in my ears, impossible to process. And Mom and Dad have officially transferred the house to me. The crystal flute slips from my fingers. Time slows as it tumbles toward the hardwood floor Jessica had insisted on refinishing last month. The crash silences the room, all eyes turning to me, as the champagne spreads across the floor like spilled secrets. Jessica, her hand protectively cradling her barely visible pregnancy, stares at me with a mixture of annoyance and triumph. Her boyfriend nods approvingly beside her while my parents suddenly find the ceiling fascinating. My face drains of color, my lips parting but finding no words. The room spins slightly as I struggle to understand what Jessica just announced so proudly, as if stealing my future deserved applause. What do you mean, transferred? My voice emerges barely audible, unfamiliar even to my own ears. The deed is in my name. The deed is in my name. Jessica laughs, the sound dismissive and sharp. Oh, that was just temporary. For the paperwork. Mom jumps in, moving toward me with her hands fluttering nervously. You're still young, Emmy. You'll buy another one. Jessica needs stability for the baby. My gaze locks onto the mantel where framed mortgage papers sit prominently displayed. My mortgage. The papers I signed after emptying my savings account to rescue my family from a foreclosure that now seems suspiciously convenient. For 11 years, I worked double shifts in Denver General's ICU. 11 years of holidays missed, birthdays celebrated days late, relationships that withered under the weight of my dedication to saving both lives and dollars. I kept a small notebook in my scrubs pocket, tracking every penny saved toward my dream home. Last April, I hit $182,000 in savings. Enough for a substantial down payment in a neighborhood I loved. I'd scheduled viewings for that weekend. Then the desperate call came. Emmy, we're losing the house. Mom had sobbed into the phone. Only 30 days left before foreclosure. I canceled my viewings, withdrew my entire savings, put down $182,000 on a $370,000 house, taking on a $188,000 mortgage in my name alone. The closing attorney had smiled as he slid the papers toward me. Congratulations, Miss Sullivan. You're a homeowner. And now Jessica stands in that home, claiming it as hers. That's my house. My voice finds strength, rising from somewhere deep inside me. I paid for it. I signed the papers. Father clears his throat, stepping forward with that familiar look of condescension he reserves for when I'm being difficult. Now, Emily, let's not make a scene. Family helps family. Jessica strokes her stomach again, the gesture theatrical. My baby needs a stable home. You have your apartment. The apartment I kept, because they insisted they needed time to move their belongings from the old house. The apartment that was supposed to be temporary until I found renters for the house I bought my house. How is this even possible? I demand, feeling eyes on me from every corner of the room. The deed was in my name. Mother clinks her glass loudly, forcing a bright smile. Come on, everyone. Let's toast to Jessica's new beginning. Just like that, the attention shifts. Glasses raise. Congratulations pour forth. I stand alone, the spilled champagne seeping into my shoes, my future stolen in a single announcement. I slip away to a corner, hands trembling as I pull out my phone. I text my cousin Sarah, the only relative who ever takes my side. Something's very wrong. Need help. Her reply comes instantly. Meet me tomorrow, bring whatever paperwork you have. Across the room, Jessica accepts congratulations like a queen at court. Mom refills glasses while Dad tells his favorite story about Jessica's first word being home. No one notices me standing alone, watching my family celebrate stealing my life savings, my sacrifice, my future. But as I observe them laughing, something shifts inside me. A quiet resolution forms, solidifying with each passing second. They think this is over. They think I'll accept this betrayal as I've accepted every other slight and disappointment. They're wrong. My heart pounds against my ribs as I slip back into my parents' house through the side entrance. The celebration continues in the living room, laughter floating down the hallway like poisonous gas. I check my watch 11 minutes until someone notices I'm gone. The door to Mom's home office creaks slightly as I push it open. Moonlight spills through Venetian blinds, casting prison bar shadows across the antique desk where family decisions have always been made without me. I freeze at a sound from the hallway. Footsteps. A pause. Then they continue past, fading toward the kitchen, Breath held, I slide behind the desk and pull the chain on the small lamp. Think like a nurse, I whisper to myself. When patients hide symptoms, we look for physical evidence. Mom has always been meticulous about paperwork, a trait I inherited. Every mortgage statement, every bill, lives in labeled folders in the oak filing cabinet. The top drawer slides open with a familiar rasp. My fingers trace across neatly labeled tabs, utilities, insurance, and medical, until I reach real estate. I pull the thick folder, nearly dropping it when voices grow louder in the hallway. Emmy's probably just in the bathroom, Jessica says, her voice carrying. You know how she gets when she's upset, always hiding away instead of talking like an adult. I sink to the floor behind the desk, the folder clutched against my chest. When the voices pass, I spread the documents across the carpet. Original purchase documents for the family home from 20 years ago. Recent mortgage statements showing my payments. And then I see it. The warranty deed with my name printed clearly as owner. Beside it, a quitclaim deed with what appears to be my signature transferring ownership to Jessica Sullivan. Except it isn't my signature. The looping E is all wrong, the E missing its characteristic tail. My hands shake so badly I nearly drop my phone as I photograph each document, the flash momentarily blinding in the dim room. Tucked behind the deeds, a letter on attorney letterhead catches my eye. I scan the contents, my nurse's training keeping my breathing steady even as rage builds behind my temples. Advise against proceeding with this course of action. Potential fraud implications. Forgery carries significant penalties. More footsteps approach. I quickly return everything to the folder, sliding it back into place. The side door offers silent escape, just as the office light flicks on behind me. Do you need the rest of that coffee? Sarah asks the next morning, nodding toward my untouched mug. We sit in the corner booth of Denny's, far from other customers. Michael, her attorney friend, studies the photos on my phone, his expression darkening with each swipe. This is textbook fraud, he says finally, looking up. The signature isn't even close. Did you sign anything giving them permission to transfer the house? Nothing, I say. I signed the original mortgage papers, that's all. Sarah excuses herself to make a call, pulling out her county employee ID badge. I've worked with records for years. They'll help us. While she's gone, Michael explains the legal implications in terms that make my stomach turn. A quitclaim deed transfers whatever interest you have in the property to someone else. But this signature, he shakes his head. Sarah returns, her face flushed. The foreclosure notice on your parents' original house? Never existed. I checked records going back 3 years. What? The word comes out as barely a whisper. Michael's face hardens. They created an elaborate lie to access your savings. The truth crashes over me in waves. My mother's handwriting on notes attached to the forged documents. Jessica's name on every transfer paper. My father's passive signature as witness to the fraud. Your mother orchestrated this, Michael says quietly. Jessica benefits, but the planning. These are your mother's notes. Stay with me, Sarah offers, reaching across the table. My guest room is yours for as long as you need. I'll file emergency papers today to freeze the property status, Michael adds, refusing my offer to pay. We'll get your costs covered when we win. I will AITA. I have the papers to save. Back at the hospital that afternoon, my colleague Deborah appears at my locker with a casserole dish. The ICU team is behind you, Emmy, she says simply. My phone buzzes with a message from my father. Your mother is having chest pains from the stress. Is this what you want? Before I can process this, a text from Jessica appears. If you fight this, I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of sister you really are. The final blow comes that evening, a certified letter from my family's attorney threatening a countersuit for harassment and false claims. In Sarah's guest room, I stare at the ceiling as moonlight paints unfamiliar shadows. I still love them, I whisper to Sarah when she checks on me. How could they do this? She sits beside me on the bed, because they thought they could get away with it. Sleep evades me through the night. I trace the cracks in the ceiling with my eyes, my mind replaying every family dinner, every holiday, searching for signs I missed. When morning light finally streams through the window, a clarity settles over me like the calm after a code blue. I sit up, pulling my nurse's notebook from my bag. On a clean page, I write 3 words: evidence, strategy, justice. They don't get to take my future. I say to my reflection in Sarah's guest bathroom mirror. Not without a fight. What would be your first step if you discovered your family had stolen your house? Would you confront them directly or seek legal help first? Next week, the hospital lobby buzzes with the usual Monday morning chaos, visitors clutching coffee cups, staff hurrying between departments, the squeak of wheelchairs against polished floors. I'm reviewing a patient chart at the nurse's station when Deborah taps my shoulder, her expression tense. Emily, she whispers, your mother and sister are in the lobby. Security called up. My stomach drops. After 3 days of ignored calls and texts, they've brought the battle to my workplace. I hand the chart to Deborah and smooth my scrubs, steeling myself. The elevator doors open to reveal my mother dabbing theatrical tears with a tissue while Jessica stands beside her, one hand resting on her barely visible pregnancy, the other clutching an oversized purse. Several visitors have turned to watch the spectacle. Emmy. Mother wails when she spots me, voice carrying across the entire lobby. Why are you tearing our family apart? After all we've done for you. I approach them with measured steps, conscious of curious eyes following me. This isn't the place for this conversation. Jessica steps forward, both hands now cradling her stomach, face contorted in a mask of distress. The stress could harm the baby, Emily. Is that what you want? Please lower your voices, I say, noticing Carl from security hovering nearby. This is a hospital. We wouldn't have to come here if you'd answer our calls. Mother snaps, her tearful facade briefly slipping. Your father hasn't slept in days worrying about what you're doing to this family. A group of nurses from pediatrics slow their pace to observe the unfolding drama. 2 of my ICU colleagues stand near the coffee cart, watching with concern. This is exactly what they wanted to humiliate me, to make me cave under public pressure. I've asked you to leave, I say firmly. Not until you drop this ridiculous legal nonsense, Mother hisses, grabbing my wrist. Her fingers dig into my skin. Carl steps forward. Ladies, I need to ask you to leave. We can't have disruptions in the patient areas. My daughter works here, Mother protests, her voice rising again. I have every right. You have the right to schedule a visit during her break time, Carl interrupts, but causing a disturbance is against hospital policy. Jessica bursts into fresh tears. She's trying to steal my baby's home, after everything we've done for her. The absurdity of her claim almost makes me laugh. Carl guides them toward the exit as Mother continues her performance, loud enough for everyone to hear. Your sister needs that house, Emily. The baby needs stability. How could you be so selfish? The doors close behind them, but the damage is done. Whispers ripple through the lobby. I stand frozen until Nurse Wilson touches my elbow. Dr. Wilson wants to see you, she says quietly. I'll cover your patients. The walk to the hospital director's office feels endless. Colleagues avert their eyes or offer sympathetic smiles as I pass. My career has always been separate from my family drama until now. Dr. Wilson's assistant waves me directly into his office. I brace for the professional repercussions of having my family spectacle disrupt hospital operations. Emily, doctor, Wilson says, rising from behind his desk. His weathered face shows concern rather than displeasure. Sit down, please. I perch on the edge of a chair, hands clasped tightly in my lap. I apologize for the disturbance, sir. It won't happen again. That's not why I called you in. He sits across from me, leaning forward. Your family has been calling staff members, including me, with some concerning accusations. My face burns with humiliation. Of course they wouldn't stop at a public scene. They've called every department head, he continues. What can we do to support you? The question catches me completely off guard. Support. Me? Emily, you've been with us for 11 years. You're one of our most dedicated nurses. His voice softens. Family should protect, not exploit. You're family to us here. Something breaks inside me. After days of holding myself together, of presenting a calm face to the world while my family systematically destroys my life, the unexpected kindness shatters my control. Tears spill down my cheeks before I can stop them. I'm sorry, I whisper, fumbling for a tissue. Don't apologize. Doctor. Wilson pushes a box toward me. Take some time. Tell me what's happening. The story pours out of me the years of saving, the false foreclosure, the forged documents, the betrayal. Doctor. Wilson listens without interruption. his expression darkening. Take emergency leave, he says when I finish. With pay. I'll arrange coverage for your shifts. I can't ask for special treatment. You didn't ask, I offered. His tone brooks no argument. Take care of yourself first, Emily. The ICU will still be here when you're ready to return. Walking back to the nurse's station, I feel lighter somehow. My family has tried to isolate me, to make me doubt myself, but they've miscalculated. For every person they've tried to turn against me, others have rallied to my side. Deborah meets me halfway down the corridor. Your cousin Sarah called. She's organizing all the documents for court. Thank you. And Michael left a message. He's filing something called lis pendens and a temporary restraining order today. She hands me a stack of message slips. Also, we've worked out a schedule. Someone from the unit will be with you whenever you need company. My throat tightens. You didn't have to do that. We protect our own, Deborah says simply. The apartment hallway feels unusually quiet when I return home that evening. I'm sorting through my mail when I spot them, my parents, sitting on the floor outside my door like abandoned packages. Father stands first, his face drawn. Your mother hasn't slept in days because of this. Mother rises more slowly, her eyes red-rimmed but calculating. After everything we sacrificed for you. I unlock my door without responding, but Father blocks the entrance. Emmy, please, just talk to us. Something in his plea sounds genuine, but I've heard too many false words from him. I meet his gaze directly. I have the original documents, I say, my voice steady. I know there was no foreclosure. The hallway fills with a sudden, powerful silence. Mother's face hardens, but Father's shows the first flicker of shame I've seen. His shoulders sag as the weight of my words hits him. Jessica said it was just paperwork, he mumbles. That you'd understand it was for family. Don't you dare blame this on Jessica, Mother snaps, but her voice lacks conviction. I'll see you both in court, I say, stepping around them into my apartment. The door closes with a soft click that feels more final than a slam ever could. My phone vibrates with a text from Michael. Good news, court approved the temporary restraining order. They can't sell or transfer the property now. A second message follows. Sarah found something interesting. The notary who stamped the fake documents is Jessica's friend from college. I sink onto my couch, absorbing this new information. With each piece of evidence, their scheme unravels further. Criminal charges are now a real possibility. I text back, I won't pursue criminal charges if they cooperate. Not out of mercy, out of efficiency. I don't want a protracted battle. I just want my house back and my family out of my life. Later that evening, I sit in Sarah's garden, a box of old family photos open beside me. Summers at the lake, Christmas mornings, my graduation. Memories of a family that existed before greed corroded everything. Sarah finds me there as twilight softens the edges of her flower beds. You're allowed to grieve the family you thought you had, she says, sitting beside me. I kept trying to earn their love by giving more, I whisper, tracing my finger over a fading image of us all smiling at the camera. But it was never enough. It never would have been. She covers my hand with hers. Some people are bottomless pits, Em. With a deep breath, I close the lid on the box of photos, sealing away the family that never truly existed. Tomorrow, Michael and I will meet to discuss our legal strategy to go to court. He mentioned the possibility of a civil theft claim with treble damages over $60,000 in additional penalties. I don't want their money, I tell Sarah as we head inside. I just want my house back. Michael says they've hired Blackwell, she warns. He's aggressive. So am I reply, when protecting what's mine. My phone buzzes with an unknown number. I almost ignore it, but something makes me answer. Emily? The voice is hesitant, familiar. It's Tom, Jessica's boyfriend. Sarah raises her eyebrows as I put the call on speaker. I didn't know what they did to you, Tom continues. I want to help. Why would you help me? I want me. I was there when your mother and Jessica discussed the forged documents. His voice trembles slightly. This isn't right. I can't be part of this. You'd testify to that? Gasped. Yes, he says firmly. I'll tell the court everything I saw and heard. After ending the call, I turn to Sarah, a strange calm settling over me for the first time in weeks. Everything just changed. On Thursday that week, the courthouse is intimidating with its marble columns and echoing halls, but I stand straight-backed beside Michael as we enter courtroom 3. My ICU badge remains pinned to my blouse, a small reminder of who I am beyond this nightmare. Ready? Michael's voice is steady, his briefcase containing weeks of meticulous preparation. I nod, scanning the room. Jessica sits in the front row, her pregnancy now prominently displayed in a tight dress. Mother dabs theatrical tears with a handkerchief while father stares ahead, stone-faced. Judge Harriman peers over reading glasses as we approach. Sullivan versus Sullivan. Property dispute involving alleged document falsification. Michael moves with calm precision, laying documents before the judge like placing surgical instruments on a tray. Your Honor, we have evidence of signature forgery, notary fraud, and deliberate misrepresentation. The judge's eyebrows rise as she examines the documents. Her finger traces the signatures side by side, the genuine one I provided from my mortgage papers versus the clumsy forgery on the quitclaim deed. And you are the sole mortgage holder? She asks me directly. Yes, Your Honor. I provided the entire down payment of $182,000 and signed for the remaining mortgage amount. Jessica's attorney, a slick man in an expensive suit, rises. Miss Sullivan clearly intended this as a gift to her family. Her sister is expecting a child. Mr. Blackwell, the judge interrupts, pregnancy doesn't entitle anyone to commit fraud. His face reddens. My client was not aware of any irregular documentation. I keep my expression neutral, though my heart pounds against my ribs. When Jessica's attorney suggests I'm punishing an innocent unborn child, I feel Michael tense beside me, but I remain composed. Your Honor, I say quietly, this isn't about my niece or nephew. This is about a deliberate scheme to take my life savings. 2 hours later, we exit with an extended restraining order and a trial date. The first real victory. That evening, Sarah calls. Emily, check Facebook. Your mother's gone public. Mother's post appears on my screen. A tearful plea about her selfish daughter taking a pregnant sister's home, complete with an old family photo where she cradles young Jessica while I stand slightly apart. She's always known exactly how to play the victim, I whisper. By morning, the local paper features Jessica cradling her belly, claiming I've become unrecognizable since my promotion at the hospital. Father approaches 3 of my colleagues in the hospital parking lot, asking them to talk some sense into Emmy. But something unexpected happens. Tom, Jessica's boyfriend, comments on Mother's post. The truth isn't being told here. Within hours, Sarah shares county records proving no foreclosure ever existed on my parents' original home. Dr. Wilson posts about my years of dedicated service, including holidays worked so colleagues could be with their families. The community is listening, Michael says during our strategy call. People recognize integrity when they see it. The hospital issues a statement standing firmly behind me. The neighborhood association where the house is located reaches out, concerned about property values if fraudulent transfers are permitted. In the second hearing Monday next week, the bank officer testifies I was the sole applicant for the mortgage. Jessica's friend breaks down under questioning, admitting she stamped the notary seal without witnessing any signatures. During a recess, Father approaches me in the hallway, his shoulders slumped. Your mother went too far. I should have stopped this. For the first time, I see the weakness that allowed this to happen, not malice but cowardice. In the courthouse lobby, Jessica and Tom argue in heated whispers. When she grabs his arm, he pulls away sharply, walking toward the exit. My family begins to fracture. Mother stops appearing at hearings, sending only her attorney. Jessica hires separate legal representation from our parents. Their unified front crumbles under the weight of exposed lies. Michael delivers the news with quiet satisfaction. The judge's preliminary ruling favors your ownership claim. They have no legal standing. The house is yours. That afternoon, their attorney offers a settlement. Return the deed if I drop all claims. Not enough. Michael responds at my direction. Full ownership restoration and all legal fees paid by them. I'm washing hospital antiseptic from my hands that evening, when my phone buzzes. Jessica's name appears on the screen with a message that makes me freeze. We need to talk. Alone. I stare at those words, water still running over my fingers. After everything, the lies, the manipulation, the public smearing of my name, she wants to meet. The old Emily would have rushed to accommodate. The new Emily turns off the faucet, dries her hands methodically, and considers her response with the same care she gives critical patients. On Wednesday morning next week, the pounding at my door echoes through my apartment like thunder. I freeze, coffee mug halfway to my lips, recognizing the distinctive rhythm, 3 sharp raps, followed by a pause, then 2 more. Mom's signature knock. "Emmy, open up! We need to talk." Her voice carries through the door, loud enough for the entire floor to hear. I set my mug down carefully, breathing deeply the way Dr. Wilson taught me during our counseling sessions. The clock reads 7:14 a.m. Of course they'd come early, catching me before my shift. When I open the door, they surge forward like floodwaters. Mom's eyes are rimmed red, mascara smudged beneath them. Jessica stands slightly behind, one hand protectively cradling her belly, which seems to have doubled in size since I last saw her. Dad hovers at the edges, his face a mask of practiced concern. "The neighbors are watching," I say quietly, stepping back. "Let them." Mom wails, but she moves inside anyway. "Everyone should see what you're doing to this family." Jessica sniffles dramatically, dabbing at her eyes with a tissue. The baby kicked all night. The stress is affecting her. Dad closes the door behind them, then leans close. "This will destroy your mother's health," he whispers, threat wrapped in concern. Her blood pressure is through the roof. They position themselves strategically around my small living room. Mom near the window, where morning light catches her tears. Jessica on my sofa, hand still on her belly. Dad standing with arms crossed. A coordinated assault. "Your father might lose his job over this," Mom announces, voice trembling. "His boss is friends with our attorney." Jessica nods vigorously. "And everyone at the hospital is talking. Dr. Renner told me nurses are choosing sides." "If you drag this through court, nobody wins," Dad adds. "Legal fees will bankrupt all of us." I listen to each threat, noting the practiced delivery, the way their eyes flick to gauge my reaction. For 11 years, I've watched patients' vital signs, learning to spot the moment when panic turns to acceptance. I recognize the same patterns in my family now, the escalating desperation, the synchronized approach. "Would you like some coffee?" I ask calmly. My response throws them. They exchange glances, momentarily unbalanced by my composure. "We didn't come for coffee," Jessica snaps. "I know why you came." I move to the small desk in the corner where a manila folder sits, precisely centered on the polished surface. "But before you say another word, you should know what I have." The folder makes a satisfying sound as it lands on my coffee table. Mom flinches slightly. I remove the contents methodically, placing each document in a neat row. "This is the original warranty deed with my signature." I tap the paper. "And this is the quitclaim deed with what appears to be my signature. Except I never signed it." Mom opens her mouth, but I raise my hand. The gesture silences her instantly, a power I never knew I possessed until now. This report is from a certified handwriting analyst confirming the forgery. Another document joins the row. These are my bank statements showing every mortgage payment I've made since closing. Fiverr Manit. With each new piece of evidence, the color drains from Mom's face. Jessica shifts uncomfortably on the sofa, eyes darting between the documents and the door. County records prove there was never any foreclosure on the family home. The paper makes a crisp sound as I place it down. And this statement from Jessica's friend admits she fraudulently notarized the document. Dad sinks slowly into the armchair, hands trembling slightly. Finally, we have Tom's sworn affidavit describing in detail how this plan was developed, including dates of meetings and who said what. Jessica's phone buzzes. She fumbles it from her purse, face paling as she reads the screen. "The prosecutor has copies of everything," I say quietly. The silence that follows feels physical, like pressure against my skin. Through my window, sunlight illuminates dust motes dancing in the air between us. "Emmy, you have to understand," Mom begins, her voice honey-sweet now. "We were only trying to—" "You didn't just steal my house," I interrupt, surprising myself with the steadiness in my voice. "You stole my trust." Jessica's phone buzzes again. Her fingers tremble as she reads. "Tom says the police just left. They're asking about the notary." Fear makes her voice shrill. "He's leaving me, says he can't trust me." Mom's composure finally cracks. "What have you done?" she demands, the sweetness evaporating. Dad stares at the documents, realization dawning in his eyes. "Criminal charges?" he whispers. "Tom says they mentioned fraud and possible jail time." Jessica's voice rises. "Mom, you said this would be okay." You've always been so independent, Emmy. Mom tries again, reaching for my hand. Jessica needs. What Jessica needs isn't mine to give anymore, I say, pulling away. I walk to my bedroom and return with a document bearing the court's official seal. This is a settlement agreement. Signed today, and we proceed no further with criminal charges. You wouldn't send your own mother to jail, Mom says, but uncertainty wavers in her voice. I didn't want to, I answer truthfully. That's why I'm offering this alternative. Dad reads the settlement terms aloud. Full restoration of property ownership to Emily Sullivan, payment of all legal fees. 90-day no-contact provision. His voice falters. Jessica's face crumples. What about the baby? Where will we live? The same place you lived before you tried to steal my house, I reply, offering a pen. One by one, they sign. Dad first, then Jessica. Finally Mom, her signature, a sharp, angry scrawl. The pen scratches against paper, marking the end of something I can't quite name. When they leave, the apartment feels suddenly vast. I sink onto the sofa, and only then do my hands begin to tremble, delayed adrenaline coursing through me. My phone rings. Michael's name flashes on the screen. Congratulations, he says after I tell him the news. The house is officially yours again. I stare at the signed settlement on my coffee table. Then why don't I feel like celebrating? A gentle knock at my door reveals Sarah, a bottle of wine in one hand, 2 glasses in the other. Because winning doesn't heal betrayal, she says softly, stepping inside. I move to the window, looking out at the city stretching before me. Buildings gleam in the morning sun, streets filling with people starting their day, each carrying their own private battles. I need to decide what happens next, I whisper, more to myself than to Sarah. The settlement papers sit on my coffee table just as secured but offering no peace. In the reflection of the window, I see not just myself, but the shadow of the woman. I'm becoming stronger, certainly, but carrying a wound that victory alone cannot heal. The for sale sign swings gently in the breeze as I walk the realtor through the property one final time. Sunlight streams through freshly cleaned windows, illuminating hardwood floors that hold no fond memories for me. I never intended to live here. I explained to Marjorie, the silver-haired realtor who's handled everything with remarkable efficiency. The closing price of $395,000 will clear the mortgage and recover my savings. Her eyes crinkle with understanding. Sometimes the best investment is in your own peace of mind. 3 months after the legal battle ended, I'm signing papers on a charming $310,000 cottage in Greeley. The little 2-bedroom with its wraparound porch and mature maple trees speaks to me in ways the larger house never did. As I press pen to paper, there's no family hovering, no hidden agendas, just my steady hand claiming what's rightfully mine. Congratulations, Miss Sullivan, the attorney says, sliding the final mortgage document across the table. My voice doesn't waver when I respond. Thank you. 2 weeks later, laughter fills my new living room as Sarah raises her glass. To Emily, who taught us all what courage looks like. My small housewarming gathering bears no resemblance to that fateful night at Jessica's. Dr. Wilson occupies my reading chair, his booming laugh punctuating Michael's animated story about courthouse antics. Hospital colleagues cluster around the kitchen island I picked out myself, helping themselves to food they brought to celebrate my fresh start. To chosen family, I respond, raising my own glass, who stand by you in truth. The golden afternoon light filters through windows I selected, falling on walls painted colors I chose. Each element reflects decisions made for me alone. No compromise, no sacrifice, just authentic preference. Sarah helps me hang a watercolor in the hallway, while Michael pretends to measure with exaggerated precision. 2 millimeters higher on the left, he insists, winking at me. In your dreams, Sarah retorts, adjusting it perfectly on the first try. Doctor. Wilson approaches with a carefully wrapped package. A retirement gift came early, he says, placing it in my hands. Inside lies an antique brass nursing lamp, its patina telling stories of generations of caregivers. For your study, he explains. A reminder that healing others begins with healing yourself. A reminder that healing others, nursing lamp, win the salve to the mesis potament. Later that evening, Amanda, our newest ICU nurse, helps collect empty plates. Her shoulders hunch slightly as she mentions her parents' disappointment in her career choice. They wanted law school, she confides. Sometimes I wonder if I'm letting them down. I recognize the familiar weight in her voice. Your worth isn't measured by their approval, I tell her, the words flowing from a well of hard-won wisdom. Trust what calls to you. Her eyes widen. I never thought of it that way. After everyone leaves, I carry a tray of seedlings to my backyard garden. The setting sun paints the horizon amber and gold as I kneel in soft earth, digging small homes for perennials that will return year after year. My hands work methodically, placing roots in fertile soil. When the mail arrives, I recognize Jessica's handwriting on a small envelope. Inside are photos of my niece, pink-cheeked and innocent. Hello, little one, I whisper, feeling no resentment toward this blameless new life. The next morning, I hang a small embroidered sign in my entryway. Family is earned, not given. Beside it grows a wall of photographs. Sarah, laughing at the lake. Michael triumphant after winning my case. Hospital staff at last year's Christmas party. Among them hangs an empty frame with a note attached, for whatever comes next. Standing in the doorway of my home, I'm silhouetted against the warm light within. For the first time in years, my shoulders carry no burden but their own. My lips form words meant only for myself and these welcoming walls. Finally, truly mine.